Hi, this is Cheryl Gallant, your Conservative Member of Parliament for the cohesive riding of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. Dock workers striking over pay, striking postal workers over the cost of living, families moving into tents because they can't afford the rent, 1 in 5 Canadians turning to food banks because they don't have the money to buy food. Trudeau borrowed billions of dollars, then pumped the billions into the big banks and drug companies. This triggered price increases resulting in inflation. The Bank of Canada, in turn, hiked interest rates, raising mortgage payments and casting more people out of their homes. There is a single, simple measure that would make life more affordable. One that would bring down the cost of growing the food, reduce the cost of shipping the food so that people can afford to buy the food. The action is axing the carbon tax. The proud socialist venture capitalist carbon tax minister is in Baku, promising to help ante up the $1 trillion needed to run the Church of Climate Socialism. The UN Climate Change Conference has even named this year's money grab after their earth goddess, Gaia. You can't make this stuff up. Canada's bilateral development finance institution, FinDev Canada, MUFG Bank Limited, the Green Climate Fund, and climate fund managers are near to reaching an agreement towards launching Gaia. It's a $1.48 billion US blended finance platform that claims to support high-impact climate adaptation and mitigation projects in up to 25 emerging and developing companies. So, now they're claiming the money will be sent to poor countries, to people to help people adapt to whatever the weather condition, seismic event, fire, flood, drought, or whatever is making life unaffordable for them. But adaptation is where they told us the contributions were going over 25 years ago. In reality, all of the money peeled off the skins of Canadian taxpayers went to the United Nations. That's how they fund those COP bashes every year, like the one going on in Azerbaijan now. The other 50% had purportedly gone to developing countries. On the ground, NGOs admitted that actually no funding went to them or to directly assisting those hardest hit by the weather conditions. The national governments in developing countries pocketed the dough. Or, as in the case of Canada's Green Climate Fund, that money found its way back into the hands of well-connected liberal insiders. The inception for the UN's Agenda 21 occurred in 1992 at the Conference on Sustainable Development in Rio de Janeiro, where Trudeau was most recently embarrassing us on the world stage again. Fidel Castro was a keynote speaker at the 1992 conference and blamed an imbalance in nature on capitalism. It was at that point the genuine environmental movement had officially been hijacked by socialists. Since then, all natural disasters were blamed on free enterprise, and working hard to get ahead became an anathema. The right to own and control property in accord with their interests, the system of supply and demand to freely set prices in markets in a way that can best serve the interests of society began to erode. It was even the genesis for the 1995 C-68 Firearms Act. With Trudeau, Canada has succumbed to socialism. Trudeau used those officially non-binding UN declarations arising from the summits to transition Canada into a post-nation state, one where we have no national identity, no borders, where working harder means you're taxed more and taking home less. The socialists hijacked the climate issue. They don't care about the planet. They just want to transition us all to socialism. Now, it's bad enough that after poisoning nearly every federal system, Trudeau stomped on provincial jurisdiction, ruining everything from daycare across the country with his unsustainable $10 a day daycare slogan to resource development. Trudeau and his Marxist ministers even went so far as to interfere with the Canada Pension Plan decision process by pushing for investments in the doomed Canadian electric vehicle industry. The Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, Investment Management Corporation of Ontario, Ontario Municipal Employees Retirement System, and Caisse de dépôt Placement de Québec participated in a $2.3 billion US dollar convertible debt financing for Stockholm-based Northvolt. They were joined by major automakers and financial institutions to support the European battery hope as the future looked bright. The Ontario Municipal Employees Retirement System also bought an undisclosed number of Northvolt shares in 2021. The Financial Times reported on Sunday that Northvolt is considering seeking protection from creditors in the coming days after talks about a rescue package collapsed. Northvolt is trying to secure short-term financing, but they're running out of time. Trudeau has put the financial security of seniors in peril with his obsession to be the first country to reach net zero. Other countries are reducing emissions as the required technology is being developed. They're not throwing their public into misery. Trudeau doesn't care who suffers so long as he gets his way. Trudeau says the federal government could have acted faster on reining in immigration programs after blaming bad actors for gaming the system. Well, we know who the real bad actor is. It's the one that posted that idiotic tweet, quote, "To those fleeing persecution, terror, and war, Canadians will welcome you. Regardless of your faith, diversity is our strength. Welcome to Canada," Trudeau wrote in January of 2017. The problem was he did not put the measures in place to ensure other bad actors did not take him up on his open invitation. It effectively erased our borders. We did see the RCMP carrying suitcases for people illegally entering Canada, but what was not shown in the news were the countless bad actors crossing into Canada at points where there are no border patrols. The additional 500,000 people Trudeau is happy to apologize for does not reflect the number of people smuggled into the country by human traffickers. These individuals may be working for cash in construction or forced into sex slavery. Had that idiotic, self-aggrandizing tweet never been posted, the RCMP would have more time to apprehend people sneaking into Canada. What Trudeau won't tell you is that the measure also facilitated the steady erosion of faith-based institutions. In addition to allowing churches to be burned down and vicious mobs attacking people of Jewish faith, permanent residency applications for Christian religious leaders are being denied. Trudeau's long march to socialism has taken a great leap forward. At the moment, Parliament continues the deadlock, but with so many Trudeau party scandals, some are trying to remember which documents he refuses to cough up. To summarize, the Auditor General audited a sample of taxpayer-funded projects through an agency called the Sustainable Development Technology Corporation. She found that the Trudeau-appointed board of directors were making decisions on who got the millions of dollars in funding, were allocating money to their own companies. That's called conflict of interest. Parliament has ordered the NDP Liberal government to provide the documents showing the details of all the projects they funded. Trudeau refuses. It has come to light that there is a connection between one of the projects and a proudly socialist Liberal minister. The Auditor General barely scratched the surface on the corruption because she was just able to audit a sample of the grants. The only way we can stop the corruption, conflicts of interest, and incompetence of this government is for Trudeau to call a carbon tax election. So we can axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. This is Cheryl Gallant, live from Ottawa.